Hey guys, I hope your Tuesday is off to a fantastic start. Happy Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Christine Gormley, and we've got multiple things to talk about today. So chances for hail in the southeast, also in the central plains today, and ridging pattern for the southern plains in Texas especially, and in parts of Oklahoma as well. Expect extreme heat today. We'll get into those details. And central plains, severe risk tomorrow, as well as the northern plains as well into North Dakota and South Dakota today and tomorrow. So we'll get into those details. But right now, we do have some storms going on over here in Mississippi and Louisiana, and we're just going to zoom in here on that and show you guys. This is one place around here in New Orleans today that will see chance for large hail possible this afternoon and this evening. But right now those storms are just crossing Highway 59, moving off to the south and the southeast, and parts of southeast parts of Texas as well. And right now we did have a severe thunderstorm warning along, I think we still do, along Highway 95 in Florida, and those storms are starting to make their way out of the area. There will be a chance for some severe storms in Florida today as well. But yeah, that's all due to this low pressure system right here. But these are our temperatures right now. Very hot in Dallas, 88 degrees. Very hot in Houston, 90s already by 12:30 today, 93 degrees. 80s across the middle part of the United States. And yeah, so we're going to be pretty warm today. Watches and warnings right here. Excessive heat warning for much of the central part of Texas, pretty much the entire state of Texas besides Amarillo and Lubbock up in the Panhandle are seeing excessive heat warnings today. And yeah, for Tuesday today, and that's going to be in effect for a while today. So definitely stay hydrated, drink that water. Yeah, go indoors as much as possible if you're working outside. And yeah, so we're going to, oh yeah, and this is the DFW heat index today. 112 today is what we're looking at, in triple digits for this week. So yeah, we're in that ridging pattern. We've got those lows on both sides of us, and we're just in that ridging pattern right now, and that's giving us a lot of heat here in Texas and Oklahoma for today and even tomorrow. So let's look at chance for storms today real quick. So this is future track today at 12:30. We're seeing the line of storms move off to the south and the southeast. And this afternoon, they're going to move off into the Gulf, and we're going to get some new pop-up showers in central part of Louisiana. It's going to move off to the south as well. And because of, they're going to start off pretty discreet and isolated, I should say, and that's where we're going to get more of that chance for larger hail around this area in New Orleans, and then they're going to cluster into a cluster of storms moving off to the south in the southeast parts or southwest parts of Louisiana, and that's when we'll see some wind and definitely some hail possible in this. So if you're in the New Orleans area, expect to see some severe storms today, and that chance will extend all the way up to Shreveport, Louisiana. So yeah, so we're going to go into tonight. That will move off and start to dwindle as the night goes on into the overnight hours. We also have another area of risk today in North Dakota, South Dakota, and parts of Montana. This later on tonight, going into the nighttime hours. So these storms over here in the southeast parts of Montana are going to move up towards Bismarck. In that line of storms, we could see over 1.25 inches of hail, up to maybe even ping pong to golf ball size hail in this area. Lapse rates are not as impressive in this area as they are in Louisiana, but there's still a risk, and these are going to move off and start to dwindle as the night moves on into the early morning hours for your Wednesday. So this is what the map looks like today. Florida is in that risk for 1 to 1.25 inches of hail, and that's a small risk. You will see some thunderstorms over there, but it might be too warm to really see too much hail in this area. But I'm going to move out of the way so y'all can see. We're going to possibly expect up to 2.5 inches of hail in the New Orleans area, all the way trekking north west to Shreveport, and those storms are just going to go down south, starting on the northwest parts of Louisiana. So yeah, expect that today. And tonight, or later on today, for Tuesday, Bismarck has a chance to see some hail, some 1.25 inches to 1.75 inches to golf ball size hail is possible in that. Glendive has a lower chance. They're on the outer side of that risk. And we do have a slight tornado threat, but we'll get to that here after this. The winds pretty much the same. If you're expecting to see storms in any of these areas, you could see up to 60+ mph winds in both locations, in the southeast and in the north. So New Orleans, Shreveport, Jackson's possible, and Mobile, Alabama, Jacksonville, and Tampa all have a chance to see some winds up to 60+ mph. Same for Bismarck and Glendive in parts of the north. So for, if this will work a little bit, today's tornado forecast for Louisiana, New Orleans, very slight chance, okay? It's not super, we're not saying it's going to happen 100%, but there is still a small chance. When we have those supercells and isolated showers and thunderstorms with that wind and that low pressure system giving us those upper level winds, we could see a few spin ups, and that is possible, but it is very low. Same all the way up for Shreveport. If you guys can get some isolated supercells, it's a small chance in this area. So moving up to, and there's not much of a chance for the north today. Could see a slight chance, but not expecting much out of that. Now, moving into tomorrow for your Wednesday, we're going to see more of the risk in the plains area in parts of Kansas and Nebraska. So this is future radar for tomorrow evening. We do see some isolated supercells just south of Abilene and parts of along 40 on the Oklahoma and Texas border, and it does look like Amarillo and Lubbock are going to miss out on this one this time. You guys could see some showers tomorrow, but the bulk of the risk is going to be for other places, and so same for Dallas. So these are going to move off to pass this highway, and Houston could see some showers overnight, but I'm expecting most of these storms to kind of die down and dwindle as we go throughout the overnight hours. And you can see these scattered showers and storms off to the east as well. But the main threat for large hail and possible tornadoes is going to be in the Big Springs, Cheyenne area. And I'll tell you why here in just a minute. These storms are going to start firing up at around 5, 6 o'clock and then start to move off to the south into Kansas. And they will be isolated. You will see more isolated supercells in this area, and we will see more wind shear, more of the ingredients that you need for some tornadoes, and that hail is also there as well. Another risk for Bismarck, much lower today for Bismarck in parts of the North and South Dakota, and as well for Rapid City, but later on into the later hours of the evening and overnight, these storms will start to move off into the north and northeast in parts of Minnesota as well. Now for the hail forecast, right now I'm going to leave it up to 2.5 inches. That could change by tomorrow, especially in the areas in the north near Nebraska and Cheyenne and Big Springs. That could change by tomorrow, especially tornado risk could go up as well, but it also could go down. But low risk right now for Abilene and Wichita Falls. It is pretty isolated, so that's why we're pretty low. The risk is low right now. It's going to be scattered, and some people will get it and some people won't. It just depends on where you are, and as well for Guymon as well. So Oakley, Big Springs, and Rapid City has a small chance to see that outflow of that. But the real risk for large hail kind of ends once you get north of Big Springs and Nebraska area. So we're going to move on to the winds. The winds are pretty much the same. Anywhere you see storms, you're going to see some high winds And with these storms over here to the east that we were talking about just a few slides ago in that future radar track, those might give you some 60-mile-per-hour winds if you could get a severe storm out of those. And we'll definitely give you guys updates into tomorrow's forecast, so stay tuned on that. This could change by tomorrow, but yes, Abilene, Wichita Falls, if you see any isolated thunderstorms, you could get up to 60 miles per hour tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. And I did say that we do have a chance for, if we're going to see tornadoes, I do think right now, as of the latest data, it does look more and more likely that this is where those tornadoes will happen, in this area where we see those isolated supercells and the wind shear and the instability in this area, just given storm mode. The rest of the places looks like clusters of thunderstorms. So Big Springs, Cheyenne, you're right on the border, and Denver is right just on the cutoff of that. That could expand down possibly, but not right now. So going into the tropics, okay, so BRET is now, we do now have a second tropical storm of the 2023 hurricane season. BRET was named the second one yesterday afternoon. So our next one, if we have one, will be Cindy, and this is the track of that. It's going to move across, kind of nick Puerto Rico with 60-mile-per-hour winds. As of right now, that could change, but it is moving into the area where Puerto Rico and into possibly the Gulf here. But we are going to see what these sea surface temperatures are. So what it's moving into, what's the environment, what's the sea surface environment that that BRET is moving into. It's 84 degrees over here in the Atlantic, and then it's moving off into this area, so it's 85 and 86 over here in the south and parts of where Puerto Rico is. So it is moving into warmer sea surface temperatures. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see. Obviously there's more ingredients that we need for this to really develop, but that's one thing. So now going into talking about the depression right now, that's right behind BRET. This is BRET right here, and this is the depression down here. So it did go down. The next 48 hours, we're looking at a 70% formation change and 80% for the next 7 days. So that did go down a little bit since yesterday. And yeah, we don't have any more days for that, but we are starting to ramp up our tropical storm season, and I'm just going to give you guys a timeline of what it typically looks like. So this is today, this is June 20th, and this is when it starts to kind of ramp up just a little bit more than it has been in May and early June. And then we're going to, once we get into August, September, and October, that's when hurricane season really peaks and intensifies the most, and then it starts to go down after we get through October and start November. So that's what we're looking at right now for the typical timeline of these storms. And so yeah, that's all I really got for you guys today. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and give us a phone call if you need to ask us any questions at 855-334-4245, or email us at info@hailtrace.com. or go to our website, hailtrace.com. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.